Okay, so Grant, what I'd like to know is give me some words that describe your dad.
Um, Confident, caring, generous, supportive, loving. Yeah.
Let's take the word supportive. You were
Hmm.
talking about your marathons. Tell me about that. How he supports you.
Oh, mom and dad have come to a number of my marathons, um, both locally and in the U.S. The ones in the U.S. have been quite a ways away. Sometimes, like down to Alabama, or Myrtle Beach, and so it will take us a day or two to get there, and so it's a full road trip. And while we're going down, um, I got them to interested in the Vinyl Cafe, and we played. It's with Stuart McLean's CBC radio show, right? So we would play that, and we would play a number of those episodes, and he would just be laughing. So we'd have a great time. We'd stop off and make. Uh, we'd stop say Nashville, and we would see Rocket City Christmas show, and then once we got there, so on race day they would get up early before the crack of dawn, along with me, and come with me down to the start, cheer me on, and then quickly get in the car and then try to see me elsewhere along the course. So I remember that year because it was just, I would say Rocket City, it was just the three of us, and he probably did about 6 or 7 times. And it's difficult because you've got streets that are closed, one-way traffic, thousands of people. They're doing the same thing. But they would do it, and he'd be there, and I would go by, and it would just be for a split second, and they would cheer, yay, cheer, and then move on, and then repeat and do it over and over. And so there's always that, and I always look forward to seeing them there, and then again at the finish line. And then I've done a couple of half marathons in the wintertime, and one, for example, Chile half marathon, and I remember once it was like -15, and I'm all dressed up with like balaclava and Vaseline on my face and everything, and they're there and freezing, and they just got to stand there for basically 2 hours to say, like, see me for like 10 seconds at a time, and that's it. But from that as well, I encouraged him as well, and I was able to encourage him to do some endurance walking, and I was so pleased when we entered this event, the Angus Glen. I was doing the half marathon, and he did a 10K, and I was able to finish in time, get to the finish line, and then watch him come in and cheer him on as he came in. And then just recently, I was able to get him to do the 5K around the bay, and he did that just this past March, and he finished second in his age group. So that was quite a thing. So yeah, he did quite well.
Now, do you have pictures of him crossing the line, just out of curiosity?
They would be online. They'd be available.
What's wrong?
Sorry, I'm just gonna ask quick before we do the next one. Can we actually kill those lights up there? And I'm gonna switch these two on here. Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
we're okay for the first clip, but there was just a
Okay.
bit of shadow coming across
Sure,
his face
no
here and
problem.
there, so I wanted to.
That's fine. Okay, so let's talk about. I read quickly about the special relationship your wife Brenda has that you guys have done traveling. It's not common, maybe in your age group,
Mm-hmm.
to be traveling with parents.
Mm-hmm.
But can you describe why? Just, I guess the fact that you're traveling with your parents on these great trips, and your wife is there as well.
Oh yeah, and I'm lucky, fortunate, and as you say, there's a lot of couples that don't necessarily have that sort of relationship with their in-laws, and Brenda, it's special. They're like her. They are her parents. Ever since the get-go, since we've been going out. I mean, well, Brenda and I go back to high school, and she was always one of the group. We had a group of 7 friends, and she was one of them. And so she'd come over and she'd hang out and we'd play cards or watch a movie, and then we started dating and stuff like that. And she's always gone along well with them. So we've gone camping together, cruising, off to resorts, whatever. And it's been a special bond. And even before we moved into this house, Brenda was pregnant with Sean. And the houses got delayed in the closing. There was some strikes that year with carpenters and whatnot. So we actually had to live with them we had already sold our house. We lived just around the corner in Jeffcoat, and they were on Needham. And we had to put everything in storage, and then we had Colin at the time, just about 2 years old, and we were there for 6 months, and we got along. And as I said, we've done so many trips. We actually, the camper, our previous camper, we owned it together between us and them, and we would go on so many trips, to the East Coast and down south. So it's been fun,
Describe about the group of 7 and how you have friends that all
they
are
were
friends with Alan.
That's right. They were. I was very fortunate that my friends were in high school were multinational. It was called United Nations basically, and our house was always a hangout place. Let's say like play cards, I said, or movies or whatever. But some of them had personal issues or family issues, and in fact, one of them actually came and lived with us. For Mom and Dad welcomed them to our house, and he came and lived with us for quite a while. And on top of that, I think he had a job for a while at Dad's shop, but they'd always invite them over for Sunday dinners. We'd have Mom would do a roast dinner, and they were always there, and they'd always be offering advice, trying to help me to help them and stuff. And I just thought sometimes it was really strange that I didn't have any of these problems, and I felt I was lucky and fortunate, and I thank goodness, and that I could help these other people. But my friends have all said you have a special, relationship with your parents, and Dad is my best friend. We've done so many things together, whether it's sporting, fishing, bowling. He was my coach in bowling. And then I did very well there. And then we ended up going to St. Benedict's Bowling League in the adult league. And he always picked me year in, year out to be on his team. And we did quite well. We won some of the championships in the series and stuff. Dad loves the ball. I'm sure others have already said between any sort of ball. If it rolls, Dad's doing it, whether it's lawn, carpet, or 5-pin. But he's also taught me so many other things. Like I have a love for woodworking now, and it goes back when I was a kid. Like we had this tree, a willow tree, and we were looking at Mom and Dad were going to take it down. And we were allowed to build a tree house in it because we were basically going to kill it with all the nails, right? So my neighbor, my best friend at the time, we were just teeny boppers probably, Rob, and I started to build a tree house. And we had no idea what we were doing. We were hammering tons of nails in it, and the boards were going all over the place. And Dad came out, and I think even Aunt Ada next door came out and said, you've just got to put these 2 beams there and the joists across and build it that way. And they actually showed us how to do it. And that tree house was just so great. It had a trap door in it. We had bamboo curtains, and we had chairs and tables. And that summer, it was just wonderful being up there. And then next year, the tree came down. And I remember we got it down to the stump, and then Dad gave it was a challenge. And it was between Dad and I taking this thing out and hacking away with I don't know why we didn't use a chainsaw, but we used the axe, and we dug it out and got the roots, and that was a real quest for the 2 of us. So, and then on top of that, we've built we finished off some basements, and Dad's a great drywaller and plumber. I can't do that, so he's done our basement in the old house, this house, Aunt Denise and Al's, and we've done theirs, built decks together. Furniture, and then I've taken up furniture, and we built furniture in our basement together for their house and for our house. And then I remember back in the old house in Jeffcoat, we were doing some sort of renovation in the laundry room, and we were both up on chairs, and not the best, and we both fell. He fell off, I guess, hits me in the elbow. I mean, his elbow hits me in the eye, gives me a black eye. He slices his finger open. It's got glass, and then we're calling for Brenda. She comes running down. There's the two of us. Like, my face is all swollen up, and he's got blood everywhere, part of his finger missing and that, you know. But yeah, there's just so many things we've done together in that way, you know. But
When I was talking to Matthew and Nathan, they were talking about the special relationship they have with their granddad, and I just read here something about what's killer diller time.
oh, killer dill, it's just rough housing. You know, they would get these when the kids were quite small, and they would just get them on the bed or whatever, and sort of go after them and tickle and just rough housing around with them. That, or in Colin when he was small, Dad would take him. He had this little ride-on toy, Ollie. And he just Colin could boot on this thing, you know, just it didn't steer and like that. And Colin and Dad would just go around the park, you know, or around the block, and spend so much time, the two of them, just doing stuff like that, you know. But and then everyone said about the hockey. You could always hear my dad's voice for hockey. He'd be on the other side because I coached both the boys as well.
So I'm going to get you to say I coach, and you can. I want you to start saying I could always hear my dad screaming in the rink or whatever because I coach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could always hear my dad screaming across, like whether from the other side of the rink. Even sometimes when he was behind the board glass, because I coached at some given point, Colin and Sean, and sometimes both, and I could see when they were beside me on the bench, they'd always be looking for their granddad, as they call him, and to see if he was there at the game, you know. And then as soon as they did, you know, that sort of perked them, you know. They were just really excited that he was there, and he hardly missed it. He was there all the time, and he was there like even to take the kids to practices, you know, in tournaments. We went away to Ottawa, and they came along for the tournament there, you know. So they've always been a big part of all the sporting that the kids have been involved, where it's bowling, not bowling, sorry, baseball, t-ball, and the hockey, you know. So there's all sorts of things, yeah.
So, what do you think? So, what lessons has Alan taught you as his son?
Patience. Forgiveness. We're a family. Well, we're a loud family, as you know, Brenda and Alan can say they married into. But we've always been able to, if we've had a difference, we've always been able to, we blow up. Now, I've had some real doozies of arguments with my dad and my siblings, but we get it out. It's you say what's wrong, and you move on. You say you're sorry. There's no resentments. There's no grudges, and I like it's healthy. There's nothing that's held back, and we come to some sort of resolution. But yeah, and then as I say, he's got confidence. I could never speak in front of people. He's got the gift of the BS, you know, as you would say. He may be unsure inside, but he doesn't come across that way. And when I used to work at the shop in the summer as a high school kid, and I'd see him take charge. Okay, it was his business, but you could see it was, or with customers, you could see that he knew what he was doing, you know, like maybe not inwardly, but outwardly he did, you know. So yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to say about your dad?
I don't know. My mind is, I don't know. I don't know how to get my thoughts to. Generous, as I said, generous. I remember, as I say, in university, starving university kids, and they came up for a visit one time, and they didn't know these people. All these guys on my floor, big guys. Some were like football guys or whatever, and their nicknames were like Beast and Archie and Oog, and they took them out for dinner, you know. And these are guys that can eat a lot, and it didn't matter. They were just always just generous, helpful. He's so helpful. Like any of the things we've done around the house, I say night and day. Nothing, you know, coming over for the weekend, staying to watch the kids, or if Brenda was working, because she worked night shift a long time, and then I would be away for, you know, out of town, they would come look after the kids, take them to school, drop them off in the morning, all sorts of things, you know.
So not just Denise's kids.
Oh no, mine. I mean, it goes way back, and that's the thing. We've always lived close. Always, no more than a couple kilometers, a whole life. We lived in Rexdale, and when Brenda and I got married, we lived on Jericho. They were on Needham. They're like 2 minutes away. So that was when Colin was up until he was 4. Then we moved here. They followed shortly to Britannia, a few kilometers away, and we've been that way ever since. There isn't a few days that don't go by. They don't come by and see us, and whether it was earlier to see, you know, Colin, Sean, and then to see later on Matthew, Nathan, and if they come to see one house, they come together because we're right beside each other, and then if they don't, we go there. It's always been that you know, there isn't. If a few weeks go by and we haven't seen them, something's wrong. Something's up. What's going on? And it seems really strange if we don't see them. You know.
Mm-hmm. So if you were to look at all your friends right now, and their relationship with their parents, yours is completely different.
Yes.
Rare.
My best school friend, he said that and when I told him the news, he said he said, I don't want to say it's a strange relationship, you have a unique relationship, and he said, I'm so envious. Okay.
We got a lot there.